giving you maybe not a trigger warning, but an intensity warning for this episode. And I really hate the fact that I'm having to give it, but it's because almost no one literally talks about the messy middle in growth, in success, and manifestation anywhere. Maybe behind closed doors in a therapy office or in a support group, but certainly not on public airways for millions of people to hear. And the fact that I even have to kind of give you a warning that we're talking about like tough stuff, emotional stuff, there's likely going to be tears. That's kind of sad, isn't it? That shows how we have not normalized the messiness of growth. And it's an essential part of it. In fact, you can't grow without it. It's a key ingredient of the recipe. Yet everyone wants to kind of hide it behind closed doors. Oh, don't show that, or no one's going to buy from you. If you talk about that, people aren't going to respect you and they're not going to want to listen to you, want to work with you because, you're messy. And so why would someone want to hire you if you're so messy? It's like, I don't hire anyone who's not willing to get messy. Because if you're not willing to get messy, that shows me that you're in pure ego, number one. Number two, it shows me you're full of shit. Number three, it shows me that you don't understand my mess or how to help me navigate through my messy middle times if you've not been through it yourself. So, you know what? A giant zero fucks given. We're going to talk about it today, and it's exactly what you're meant to hear. And you've been warned. And ZFJ. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, your abundance, and everything in between. Well, let me tell you, I have been going through it. This is what I see as an ego death. What I mean by an ego death is that the old story, the old operating system, my old behaviors, my old habits, my old way of being, my way of thinking, me being at a certain energetic frequency, it's time for it to die off, and we start wrestling with it, right? We don't want it to die off because that's what feels comfortable, even though we do want it to die off because that's what's necessary for us to have the big leap, for us to ascend to our next level of abundance. What's bigger, what's better, what's even more meant for us in our higher selves, and what we're destined to do here in who knows how long we're here on this planet in human form. And we're not in charge, we're not in control. All we can do is either help contribute to our greatest growth or make it really damn hard by standing in the way and standing in resistance. And let me tell you, when you're going through this sort of ego death, when you feel like a terrified 13-year-old that is about to start high school, and you're starting it in a city you've never been to where you know nobody. And ultimately it is for your greatest good. And you're not the only one who's been through it, but you feel alone, you feel terrified, you are completely dysregulated, you feel restless, irritable, discontent. Maybe all of your tools that you've learned in life, maybe through therapy, through other forms of healing, they're not really working. And you are in what I call the dirty diaper of it. And first, let me tell you right now that this is part of it. This is essential. This has to happen. That's truly what's getting me through it right now, is because I know that I have been through this before, and there's only incredible, beautiful next level abundance waiting on the other side. Thankfully, I have an evidence bank of that. When you're going through it and it's your truly your first time, maybe even your second time going through it, you're like, oh my God, what is going to happen? It makes it much harder to have faith and trust because you don't have this evidence bank. So you have to borrow it from someone who you believe, who you trust, just like you would hopefully with me, maybe an older sister, a mentor, someone, a therapist, a healer that you work with, where you're like, okay, like I can't see it. I'm not in full faith. I want to be. I'm working on it, but I need to borrow this faith and this conviction from someone who I feel safe with, who understands me, who I trust, because otherwise you ain't gonna make it, honey. We're not gonna make it. This is tough. And this is why so many people don't grow. So many people don't evolve. So many people don't ascend because they're not willing to be in the dirty diaper. They're not willing to be in the discomfort. They're not willing to be in the messy middle. And your palate for sitting in this discomfort, and I'm not saying you have to stew in it for weeks and weeks and weeks. It'll feel like a long time. But wouldn't you be more willing to sit in it and feel the feelings and purge the grief and the stored anger and the emotions that come up of how you used to operate and the insanity of the things that you tolerated and that you were settling for less and accepting less for yourself and all the fears and the noise? Wouldn't you sit in it, as gross as it feels, for a week, knowing that on the other side is the lightness, is the abundance, is the giant exhale, is the most stunning sunrise that you've ever seen in your entire life, where it takes your breath away? Wouldn't you be willing to do that? We have to remind ourselves that that's coming. And I'm in it right now. I'm recording this episode out of order of the episodes that I am recording prior to leaving for my birthday trip. And if you're following along on my travels on Instagram at Project Me with Tiffany and my stories, I highly recommend doing that. On my Instagram, it's completely separate content than what I do on TikTok. So you want to make sure you're following me at both. And I'm at Project Me with Tiffany on both. And also on my Secret Posse weekly digest, this is where I send you weekly emails, and they're from me and they're personal stories from myself, from clients, intuitive downloads. You get an affirmation of the week, all with deep intention and thought of what it is I know you need to hear that week. And you can get on my Secret Posse weekly digest list by going to projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. That link's also in the show notes when you swipe up. And if you are watching here on YouTube, hey, and you can look in the description on YouTube. And something that I want you to know, and why I needed to record out of order, is because I have been in this dirty diaper spot for days. I have enlisted all my coaches. This is why we can't do this alone. You have to have this support, and highly qualified support, if you want to get highly qualified results. And thankfully, I have this amazing support. But ultimately, you want to know what in life? This is life lessons from Coach Tiff. Okay. I'm feeling heavy nostalgia for my birthday. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of these. It's an inside fucking job. You could have the best partner in the world. You could have 10 top tier coaches. You could have a support group. You could have gazillions in the bank. And it's still an inside job between you and source, you and God, you and the universe, you and your spirit guides, you and angels, whatever it is you believe in. And we can think, oh, if I had more money, I would feel this way, or I would take this action, or I'd take this leap, or I wouldn't feel so scared. Oh, if I had family, that's one of mine, right? If I had like true blood family and I didn't feel like fucking all alone in this world with no blood family, then I wouldn't feel so scared right now. That's not true. I've coached over 150,000 people all over the world, all different circumstances and backgrounds, people who have wonderful, healthy families to the point where it's like shocking to me, like where I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know, I didn't know there were such healthy families that existed. I've coached people who are married to someone so absurdly rich that for 10 generations, no one would ever have to lift a finger. I have coached people who are self-made, mega multimillionaires, even beyond my net worth, that could quit it all right now and have a beautiful life and do nothing. And they feel so alone and so scared and so uncertain and so vulnerable and so dysregulated because that's the dirty diaper. You're supposed to feel that way. It's in the discomfort in which we grow. You know that saying about the diamonds are made under pressure, right? How do we get relief in those tense muscles in our neck and our shoulders and our hips and our back? How do we get relief? Pressure, right? Pressure has to be put on it and it gives that release. And I know every single person listening knows what that feels like when you're getting a massage or you ask someone to rub a certain spot on you and they hit the right spot and it's like all the blood starts flowing again. It's like, oh God, you feel like 500 pounds lighter. This is what's required right now for you to grow. Congratulations, you got to this point because you've done the work that was necessary to get to this point, and now it's time to go to your next level. This is a great sign. When clients come to me, and I've had a lot of clients, just FYI, if this isn't validating, in August in particular, okay, in this last Mercury retrograde, I think every client, even past clients, coming to me going, please tell me you have a spot. Please, I need your coaching. And it's like, I only take 4 private clients at a time. And then I, will let you guys know if you're in that spot, I would grab one of the few remaining spots for my in-person mastermind on October 1st and 2nd. This is where we do the deeper work on the resistances, the fears, the self-doubts, but also the strategy where I'm teaching you the 2 highest income generating skills, period, end of story, aside from you doing like coding websites and stuff like that. And these 2 have been voted on by Forbes for the 2nd year in a row. And I absolutely agree. You are learning skills. You're getting fast tracked into them and then shown how to apply these skills in order to make more and work less in your business, to do offer stacking, to have reoccurring monthly revenue that you can depend on, whether you take off the entire month of December for the holidays, or you, God forbid, get sick, or your attention is needed elsewhere. We're setting up your business in a way and restructuring it and redeveloping it in a way so that you can live a life of freedom and not be trapped by your business and trading time and energy constantly for money and then worried about how you're going to take time off, or now you have to do another launch and now have to this and have to this. That is not freedom. And there is another way and a better way to do it, but you have to show up committed and willing to do things a different way. And in order to be able to do something a different way, besides learning from the best and someone who's highly experienced, myself and all the special expert people that I am flying in, and these are not people coming and speaking on a stage and speaking at you for 45 minutes, okay, where you're getting a ton of information and motivation. While that's nice sometimes, that's not what a mastermind is. we are actually taking action and getting results on the spot in 2 full days with me. And if you have been hearing about this and messing with yourself and your brain on it, just know if you've been thinking about it enough, it's because it's meant for you, and fucking trust it and stop wrestling around with it. Okay. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind, projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. You can swipe up. The link's in the show notes. It's in the description on YouTube. It's in my link in bio on Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany, and come on in. If you're in a position right now where you need some sort of a payment plan in order to be able to come, just because of what's going on in your business, or maybe you've invested a lot of money recently and you need to be able to spread out the payments a little bit. I'm not saying we're absolutely going to be able to do it. It has to make sense for me as well, but I don't want that to hold you back. So you can email us, and the support email is right on the mastermind registration page. So you can email us and propose a payment plan. Can I pay this much up front and then make this payment, and have a payment around this dollar amount each month? Would that work? Because what is it we always say here? What's the Project Me motto? There's always a fucking way. So if you don't ask, right, then the answer is no, right? Like, you have to propose something. And I know some of you kind of resist doing that because you don't want to offend me, which I appreciate. But on the other hand, we can tell when it's coming from sincerity versus someone playing some kind of a game. And I've truly been in that situation before where I've like, okay, my credit card maxes out at this dollar amount. Is there any way I could give this up front and then pay something around this over the course of a month or two? Is that possible? And you can tell when someone's genuine. Okay. So make a move, do something for your greatest good. Don't continue setting yourself up for the same shit. And if you're in a spot right now, like I am, where I'm feeling all these things, the pressure, the resistance, the vulnerability, scared, uncomfortable, it's because you're being called to another level. You are meant to be doing something more, and you have to let go of the damn branch that you've been holding on to, and let go and trust, because continuing to hold on, I promise you, is so painful. Holding on to your old way of thinking. Oh, I shouldn't invest money until I make more money. Oh, I shouldn't do that. What is so and so going to think? I shouldn't do that because, I mean, I should just be happy for and grateful for what I have. I already have so much in my life. Like, why would I do this to myself? Oh, I don't know how much time and energy this is going to take me, and I don't want this to take away from my kids or my family or affect my health. I'm already feeling so depleted. Where am I going to find the energy? Well, you're certainly not going to find it by continuing to have a death grip on the damn branch when you're really wanting to be on the ground. And you're wanting to be on that ground where it feels rooted and stable and safe and secure, where you get to walk the paths that you want to walk and have the options you want to have. But you've got to fucking let go. And this is so weird as I'm recording this, because obviously I record for YouTube at the same time. And shout out to all the YouTube subscribers who love watching the show. And maybe those of you guys who listen to the show should just even go over there and subscribe and look, because seeing sometimes the person who's speaking this love into you, this wisdom into you, this knowledge, this abundance into you, it can really land and hit differently. But I'm looking at myself as I'm recording and saying these things to you, and I see that Tiffany, and I am scared. Even though I have so much, I do. So what? I had so much for 10 years before I fucking started Project Me, the podcast and the business coaching brand. It took me 10 fucking years. I was already an entrepreneur. I had money. I didn't have as much money as I have now, but I had top 1% money. Like I had the knowledge. I mean, I didn't necessarily know how to build an online personal brand, but I definitely wasn't green to entrepreneurship. But I wanted to hold on to the branch, right? I wanted to hold on to the branch as being a newscaster, right? Like I knew what that entailed. I knew what was required of me every day, but I was so restless, irritable, and discontent, I couldn't do it anymore. The discomfort propelled me into doing something that literally every single person in my life at that time was like, anyone I told, including a counselor I went to see. And it was not a licensed therapist. I don't know, they were licensed in something, but it was not therapy, and it was fucking terrible advice. And I remember saying, like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown on the air. Like, I'm going to be one of those people. I can't be here anymore. I don't fit. I feel outer body. I have to be something I'm not to be here. And it feels fake. And I'm going crazy and I can't do it. And everyone's like, people would do anything to have your job. There's a line of people who would take your job. If you do that, you've lost your chance of doing it again, because people project their own stuff on you. And a lot of people get razzle dazzled by someone being able, being on TV. Right. And in that case, and ultimately, I held on long enough where I had to quit. I can't recall now because I was probably so dissociated. I don't even know if I gave a 2 week notice. Okay. And anyone who's in the news business or TV business who listens, that is not normal to do that. You give a lot of notice because they have to find someone to fill your spot. They have to create a story. They have to send a press release. I didn't care. I held on so long that it was a little messy, but I had to let go to save myself. What's going to save you and get you the abundance you want, the money you want, the freedom you want, the joy you want, the legacy you want, being able to have a business of doing something where you get to monetize your gifts, skills, passions, and talents on another level. So what? I know a lot of you listening are successful entrepreneurs, but it's not successful if you are stagnant. Stagnant and success, that does not go hand in hand. If you're uncomfortable right now, it's because you're having growing pains. It's because you're meant to grow. What happens when you see a kid where they have their baby teeth and those start falling out and the adult teeth come in? It's pressure, it's pain, it's uncomfortable, but it has to happen for their greatest good. If it doesn't happen, right, then that's an issue and that's a concern. And that's many doctor's visits later, right? Let go of the fucking branch. And I'm staring at myself as I say it. And you could be like, what branch could you be holding on to, Tiffany? Because I've had to let go of so many, but there's always another layer as long as you're continuing to manifest and you're continuing to dream and you're continuing to grow and do the work. This is what it means to be in human form. This is all predestined. You're actually pushing yourself against what God has already determined for you, what spirit has determined for you by continuing to hold on. You are having a childlike temper tantrum and just gripping and clawing until you're so uncomfortable and so sick and tired of being sick and tired that you wave the white flag and put your hands in the air and you go, I can't do this. I surrender. You guys, I am scared. I have more on the line than I've ever had on the line in not just my business, but in my personal life. Monetarily, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, in all of the ways. And oh God, it is so uncomfortable. But this was already determined for me. I already have had the visions for a long time of some peak, big, abundant moments that are in my future. I know what I'm meant here to do. I know I'm meant to help millions heal their relationship with money, with abundance, with themselves, and help people set themselves free from the bullshit programming that we were all taught, that you have to sacrifice and grind and give up and deprive yourself in order to have abundance, in order to be able to make money doing something that you love. And it's bullshit. And I stepped in and said, I'm taking this position. I take it with humility. I take it with pride, but it comes with this. What you're wanting comes with this, because the discomfort makes us let go of things. When you're in pain, okay, like there's this, and I hate that I forget these people's names that I watch so much on TikTok lives, and I really should make a point of writing them down. And there is this chick who, I think at 13 years old, she was like super into cheerleading, like did the competitions. And she was like the tiny one that they flung in the air and did all those flips and twirls. And she is now paralyzed since she was 13. She's 30 something now from the neck down. So she has to be on a ventilator. She has a 24/7 care, and she chooses to come on and, really spreads not just awareness of that, but like just teaches us like her mindset stuff and how she allows herself to feel free and expansive, even though she's trapped in her body, and so on. And I love watching people like this. They're so remarkable because that wasn't planned, but that was her. That's what she's supposed to be here doing, right? Like there was nothing she could have done or her parents really could have done to have stopped that. Ultimately, that's what she's supposed to be here doing. And my point in sharing that is, she recently, it was over the American holiday, the 4th of July holiday, and where people have sparklers and they sit out by fire pits. And I'm saying this because I have such a big international audience now, and I fucking would hate it. Only I can laugh as I'm like fucking having a nervous breakdown over here. I know how annoying it would be if I'm from any other country, and when US based podcasters are talking about like things that are American holidays or American things, as though everyone should know what the fuck that they are, which is so American because Americans are so narcissistic. And it makes me laugh. Like, I don't know all the different holidays for other countries. Like, and why should you know mine? Right. So there's sparklers, fireworks, lots of fire activity. Okay. Well, she can't feel her fucking skin. And the fire felt good on her face. And she had people around her. The fire was so hot, it burnt a fucking hole in her ventilator and burnt like 3rd-degree major burn on her leg because she didn't feel it. If it wasn't for her ventilator getting a hole and literally the ventilator alarm going off, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, like literally, she would have like, I mean, she would have caught on fire or something. So my point in saying that is, some people can't experience physical discomfort, And physical discomfort is a sign that something is wrong with our body. It's to get our attention. Something is needed. We need to move. We need to turn over. We need to release something, right? And your emotional discomfort, spiritual discomfort, physical discomfort, your exhaustion, getting sick all the time, your brain being foggy, hair falling out, you being really snippy snappy with your family, you being cunty with a K way more often than you should, you just not feeling right, you feeling depressed. These are all big warning signs for you. This is happening for you because it's time for you to do something different. It's time for you to release your old way of being. It's time for you to step in and take the risk and bet on yourself. It's time for you to let go of your old operating system. And if you continue to hold on and do things how you used to do them, just as this girl that I watch on TikTok, if she continued, as much as she loves how that being closer to the fire pit feels on her face, because it's one of the few it's the only area of her body she has any feeling on, and it feels so good. But if she does that again, the risk is huge, right? She literally got burned from it. And she's had other warning signs. She's had other types of burns before from doing this, but this time was on a whole nother level. You'll keep getting burned. You'll keep paying the price if you choose to not move through the discomfort. And I don't want that for you. And I want you to know that this doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, that you fucked it all up, that you're destined to be in this dirty diaper spot forever. This is happening to wake you up and for you to surrender and let go of the branch. And yeah, that free fall, oh my God, it is so scary. Some people get off on that stuff, okay? There's a percentage of the population that gets off on that, and I commend them. Well, I'm not one of them. I don't like it. I like certainty. I like knowing. I like predictability. But that's not where growth happens, is it? We get some of that, right? Thank God. But that's not where your real next level is. And if you are wanting to truly manifest the things that you've been dreaming of, and I know what you dream of because I was there and I still dream of it, like, because who doesn't want more of it, right? More financial abundance is more options, more freedom, more safe houses I can build for women and children who've been sex trafficked. And I want to be able to incorporate emotional support animals and helping those women and children. And that costs a lot of money to build teams and do stuff like that. You know, I want to be able to have a home in Italy or in France, like a European home or a chateau, that if I want to go there for a month and hang out, I can. Or if I want to have a friend wants to go stay there, I can. Or I can host a European mastermind there, a really fun meetup there. Like, there's so many things that I want to do. And I want to be able to pour that abundance into other people so that they can experience it and taste it and see what's available for them. And I want to reach more people, millions, tens and hundreds of millions of people, as many people as possible who are suffering in silence, who are right at the brink of doing something but hesitating, or who are already doing big things but like need to know they're not alone and have someone who fucking gets it. I know what you want. You want to feel that freedom. You want the weight off your shoulders about, oh, I want to do this, but I don't have the money for this, or I don't have the time for this, but like money buys more time. I don't have the energy for this. And I know there's something going on with my health, and you being able to do what I'm able to do now, and like hire concierge doctors and top tier healers. And you want to be able to do it without trading your life or selling your soul for it, which is what a lot of us were taught. I mean, I got to tell you, I sold part of my soul in the corporate world because I didn't know any other way. And that comes at a big cost. And I know a lot of you are in the jobby job and want out of the jobby job. You're straddling, or maybe you've even done a version of what I did in my first business and created a business that you feel trapped by. And we can fix that. I promise you. I don't care if you're 20 years into it. We can restructure, we can regroup, we can pivot. I can't tell you how many people I work with who've had brick and mortar businesses, doctors, lawyers, accountants, people in construction, people who are nail techs, permanent jewelry. I can go on and on. What did I just say before? There's always a fucking way, and I know the way. And if you want this to happen at a much faster pace, where it's easier, it's clearer, you're not constantly guessing and throwing shit at the wall and hope that it works and praying, where you're actually getting the clear roadmap and undeniable direction. And all you have to do is follow the steps. Seriously, that's all you have to do. And you're willing to do it. I am confident enough to say one of the best investments in your entire life will be coming to my 2-day in-person mastermind with me and literally my team of healers, the people on my team, highly vetted, the best of the fucking best. Strategy alone won't get you there. We have to work on the resistance. We have to work on the fears, on the self-doubts, on those things while we're doing the actual business and money-making strategy. There's only a few spots left. I don't know if I'm going to be running this next year. Okay, I'm being called to go into a chapter of my life, which is why I'm in this state right now, that is even beyond things that I've manifested, and I can feel it, and it's so powerful. And I might not have the space in this next season to offer anything this intimate in person again. And you're hearing this for a reason right now. You are likely going to be the blessed final people being able to attend this and be able to experience this at this type of intimate container where it's not like 500 people in a room. Okay. There's a maximum of total amount of people that are allowed literally in this beach mansion of 30 people at any time. And it's very strict. They will call the police here. The policia will be called. And I don't really need the policia called on Tiffany, okay? It's happened though. It's been known to happen at some parties, but like I really don't need that. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind, projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind to get one of the final spots. Swipe up the links in the show notes, also in the description here on YouTube, Project Me TV, and on my Instagram and TikTok at Project Me with Tiffany. And my parting words for you and for myself as I'm looking at myself saying this to you: what you don't change, you keep choosing. That in and of itself is a choice. And as we are much closer to the end of the year than we've been, and it's rolling up on us with pumpkin spice and all, what do you want to do to make sure that you're following through on the life that you want to choose, but the change in you is required? Make a move. I'd be honored to support you. Love you so much. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always.